The Inchcape Rock by Robert Southey. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. The ship was still as she could be. Her sails from heaven received no motion, her keel was steady in the ocean. Without either sign or sound of their shock, the waves flowed over the Inchcape Rock. So little they rose, so little they fell, they did not move the Inchcape bell. The worthy abbot of Aberbrothock had placed that bell on the Inchcape Rock. On a buoy in the storm it floated and swung, and over the waves its warning rung. When the rock was hidden by the surge's swell, the mariners heard the warning bell, and they knew the perilous rock, and blessed the abbot of Aberbrothock. The sun in heaven was shining gay, all things were joyful on that day. The seabirds screamed as they wheeled round, and there was a joyance in their sound. The buoy of the Inchcape bell was seen, a darker speck on the ocean green. Sir Ralph the Rover walked his deck, and fixed his eye on the darker speck. He felt the cheering power of spring, it made him whistle, it made him sing. His heart was mirthful to excess, but the rover's mirth was wickedness. His eye was on the Inchcape float. Quoth he, "My men, put out the boat, and row me to the Inchcape Rock, and I'll plague the abbot of Aberbrothock." The boat is lowered, the boatmen go, and to the Inchcape Rock they go. Sir Ralph bent over from the boat, and he cut the bell from the Inchcape float. Down sank the bell with a gurgling sound, the bubbles rose and burst around. Quoth Sir Ralph, "The next who comes to the rock won't bless the abbot of Aberbrothock." Sir Ralph the Rover sailed away. He scoured the seas for many a day, and now grown rich with plundered store, he steers his course for Scotland's shore. So thick a haze o'erspreads the sky, they cannot see the sun on high. The wind hath blown a gale all day, at evening it hath died away. On the deck the Rover stands, so dark it is, they see no land. Quoth Sir Ralph, "It might be lighter soon, for there is the dawn of the rising moon." "Canst hear," said one, "the breakers roar? For methinks we should be near the shore." "Now where we are I cannot tell, but I wish we could hear the Inchcape bell." They heard no sound. The swell is strong, though the wind hath fallen, they drift along, till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock. O Christ, it is the Inchcape Rock! Sir Ralph the Rover tore his hair, he cursed himself in his despair. The waves rush in on every side, the ship is sinking beneath the tide. But even is his dying fear, one dreadful sound could the Rover hear, as a sound as with the Inchcape bell, the devil below was ringing his knell. I remember Mr. Black read us this poem when I was 8 years old, and I've never forgotten it, but it was only as an adult I went back and read it again. So by Robert Southey, sometime poet laureate of the United Kingdom, as the official poet of the realm. So this is one of his more widely appreciated poems, not as widely known as After Blenheim. So it tells a tale of a rover being like an armed robber. We get the word rovers, the football team, even bereave. They're called reavers or rovers, often on the border between England and Scotland, exploiting the lawlessness there, but occasionally pirates. So I'm not sure if Aberbrothok is a real place, but an abbot is a man in charge of an abbey, as in a house of monks, meant to do good charitable works, and then warning people to stay away from this dangerous rock. I remember this is centuries ago when there was no sophisticated navigation equipment. They had to navigate by the stars, and they weren't always accurate in doing so, and there weren't many lighthouses. And so Sir Ralph is hoisted on his own petard, having cut the rock to cause ships to sink. His own ship founders thereupon, and it's a real rock which is to the east coast of Great Britain, so it's closer to Scotland, not that far off North Berwick. Yeah, so they can't see. There's poor visibility because of the haze, and the moon is coming up. They're not sure of where they are at the time. Blah blah blah. And the climax of the poem is poetic justice when his ship hits the very rock that he wanted other people's ship to hit. So he'd been very wicked and deliberately caused other ships to sink. But it comes back to him. You reap what you sow, as they say in the good book. So the motion of the ocean is a very well-known rhyming couplet, often used Americans to mean something to do with Congress, not the United States Congress. Right, so that's when they fell. Inchcape Bell, and then we hear about this abbot of Aberbrothok many times. There are many toponyms with Aber in it, but Aber being like the mouth of a river, as in Aberlar, Aberdare, um, Abergavenny, other more Abers in Great Britain. So that's it. The gale's a very strong wind. The breakers roar. The breakers meaning the those sort of waves that was there as they break, and canst, because this is written 200 years ago, perhaps even antiquated even then. Is anything any other anachronisms? Anything else is antique? Perhaps not. Okay, knell, as in the bell they would ring at a funeral to signal that the funeral is going on. So he tore his hair because he's feeling very bad, annoyed with himself that what goes around comes around. He's caused other ships to sink, and now his own ship sinks. And the people were lulled into false sense of security, thinking they would have fair warning of that rock because of the bell placed there, but he has removed it, so they won't know, and they're going to sink. And then people hit it and they sink. So that's what happens to them because they think they don't have to be worried about the rock because they'll get a warning, and then they don't get a warning to the last minute. But then Ralph the Rover, he sinks on the very rock that he tried to get other ships to sink on. And so we have a bit of pathetic fallacy as the weather is reflecting what's happening. The buoy, Buoy, as in buoy, as in a flotation device. I know in American it's pronounced buoy. Oh yeah, another word which nowadays be antique, joyaunce, Joyaunce. I must try and drop it into conversation. So right, it's obviously rhythmical. It's got meter. It's got a regular rhyme scheme. It's all written in quatrains. Spreads. They've elided that. They've skipped out the V for the sake of scansion. Wind hath blown. Okay, would not say hath anymore. Is there anything else? So a bit of quotation. Quoth he, as in quoth a bit like quote, he says, or says he. And then he utters a profanity, O Christ. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.